Chika Unigwe. Y'all, I'm sorry if I'm butchering these names, but I'm trying my best. The way that the structure of the book is written extremely well. The plot, the character development, I mean, everything is just so amazing, especially in the first two books. Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back. So today I'm going to be talking about 12 books written by Nigerian authors that I absolutely love. This year I read 3 books by one Nigerian author, and then the other ones I actually read in 2023. And actually that is what started me on my journey of really exploring Nigerian authors. And when I tell you Nigerian authors can write, y'all, Nigerian authors can write. So the first book I want to introduce is Nearly All the Men in Lagos Are Mad by Demilare Kuku. I hope I'm saying that right. If y'all are Nigerian, just tell me how to pronounce it, okay? But this book is actually meant to be witty and painfully humorous about the experiences that women in Lagos are experiencing with men. So with each story presents different women navigating betrayal, heartbreak, love, loss, and it also addresses some of the societal cultural norms and the pressures of just being a woman. So this book actually has like a men are trash satirical trope, which actually is so funny. But the experiences that the women experienced in their book was actually so relatable to the things that some women really go through in their relationships today. If you want something that's funny, painful, relatable to women's experiences as a whole, and something that deals with the cultural norms of being like a Nigerian woman, you would definitely love this book, because I loved it. I mean, the stories that these women told within the book are like so amazing. Now, the next book, actually, when I read these books, the next 3 books, they actually came in like a trilogy. But for some reason, y'all, I cannot find these on Amazon. I literally looked today. I was only able to find one of the books by Sharon Ambibola Salu. So this book is called Okada Love by Sharon Ambibola Salu, and this is about a woman meeting a guy on the back of a Okada, which is actually like a motorbike in Lagos. So she meets this guy on the back of an Okada, and they end up sparking a friendship, which of course actually leads to a relationship. So this is actually a light romantic love story where it has that strangers to lovers trope, like that meet cute. And this is such a cute short novella, because the books are actually really short. They're under 200 pages. And when I tell you, I just fell in love with the entire story. And I just love how the characters, their friendship just literally progressed and blossomed throughout the book. Y'all, it was such a cute book. If you enjoy gentle slice to life romance, you would definitely enjoy that one. Well, the next one by the same author is called KK Love, where a girl is running late to her job because she lives literally like all across town. So she's running late to her job, and then she ends up catching a KK, which is a tricycle in Lagos. That's just what they call it. Like, y'all, I have Nigerian friends, so I'm kind of familiar with some of the terms. So a KK is actually a tricycle, and she has this long drawn out absurd commute to work. She ends up meeting a stranger on the KK, and she ends up sparking an unexpected connection with one of the men that are on the KK. This definitely has that chance encounter love in transit trope, which I actually loved, because the encounter that she encountered with him was just amazing. It was sweet. I love the gentle romance within the novella. It was so amazing, y'all. And when I tell you, I just literally fell in love with this story. I fell in love with this story. So if you're looking for like a sweet, simple, chaotic Lagos love story, this is definitely one that you should pick up. The third book in like the trilogy, I want to say trilogy because really like this book is included all together, and I can actually link below the website where I think you should be able to download the books and actually read them, because like I said, they're novellas, so they're really short stories. So Danfo Love is about a girl who like has the absurd commutes again in Lagos and on the back of a Danfo. And a Danfo is like the Nigerian bus. The Nigerian buses. Like, I just love these names. Like, y'all, I just feel like sometimes it's so much culture in Africa, period, that I've not gotten to experience. And I just keep saying, like, I would love to go to Africa one day because I would love to experience the culture that I come from. And so it's so amazing when I read about these things, when I see movies and pictures, and when I engage in conversation with my Nigerian friends and listen to them speak pidgin. It is like so cool. And sometimes I feel like, man, like being brought to America with my ancestors. But it's just like, I feel like sometimes I've missed out on really engaging in part of my culture, because I know that my ancestors are from Africa. Like, I know. But anyway, so Danfo Love, which is the bus in Nigeria. So she has these absurd commutes. And while she's navigating these chaotic Danfo bus commutes to work, she ends up sparking a connection with someone on the Danfo. And when I tell y'all, it is so light, sweet, cute. It's so romantic. It literally has just the right amount of romance. They're not spicy at all, but they're really soft and cute and light romances. And this book really captures the reality of like the commute of Lagos in Nigeria. So if you're looking for something funny, heartwarming, a little chaotic with the transportation, this is definitely a novella that I think you would actually enjoy. So now the next book is called Becoming Nigerian, a Guide. And this is actually a faux how-to self-help book that actually dissects Nigerian society when it comes to politics, religion, corruption, family, and survival. And it's really a satirical trope, because he's trying to tell people this is how you become Nigerian, or this is how to be Nigerian, coming from a Nigerian author. And when I tell y'all, it is so funny, but the observations and the information that he's giving the reader is pretty much like factual information, but in a more satirical way, which I absolutely loved it, because I literally laughed out loud so much at just some of the cultural norms and values and beliefs that he brings to the reader's attention, but he's telling it to you in like such a satirical way. If you want something that's going to teach you about the Nigerian cultural norms, values, and beliefs, but in like a more funny, laugh out loud way, this is one of the books that I recommend that you read. Now I'm going to talk about two thrillers, but this is actually a trilogy. The last book I have not read, which is called Unfinished Business, but the first book in the trilogy is called Easy Motion Tourist by Leye Adinle. I hope I'm saying it right. So this is about a British journalist. He actually travels to Nigeria. And he travels to Nigeria because he wants to be a journalist. And what ends up happening is, while he's at a bar, he ends up witnessing a murder, and then he's arrested. And we all know you have to be careful when you go into like foreign countries and you're a foreigner. So he was literally arrested, but he was rescued by a girl named Amaka. She's literally an activist for like streetwalkers. So within this book, both of them team up together to uncover some corruption within the government of Nigeria and some ritual killings. When I tell y'all, this book was amazing. It was fascinating from beginning to end. And I really love the relationship between the journalist and Amaka. And this book really shows like a lot of strength, especially in the Nigerian culture when it comes to women. So I really do like the lead female role in the book. It literally has that femme fatale as a savior trope. So if you're into a fast-paced thriller with a female-led role, this is really a great thriller to read. I'm telling y'all, it was so amazing. I literally could not put this book down. So the next book in the trilogy is called When Trouble Sleeps. So in this book, Amaka really picks up where she left off in book 1. She investigates a politician who's linked to a deadly secret sex cult. So she ends up facing all these assassination attempts because she's really trying to get to the truth. And of course, no one wants her to get to the truth of corrupt politicians. So this is definitely a political thriller where a woman is speaking the truth. If you're into suspense, danger, crime fiction, where a powerful woman is the lead in the book, then this one is definitely for you. So the next book is called Better Never Than Late by Chika Unigwe. Y'all, I'm sorry if I'm butchering these names, but I'm trying my best. So this book is actually a collection of interconnected stories about Nigerians that are immigrants in Belgium. And this book actually explores identity, displacement, broken dreams, and strange relationships as Nigerians have immigrated to Belgium. And it gives off that diaspora fiction trope. And I really love that it's emotional and introspective, and it really shines a light on immigrant experience, especially after they move and immigrate to like different countries. I think this book is one of my favorites. I've loved all of these, but I also think that this one was one of my favorites. It's called Knights of the Creaking Bed by Tony Khan, or Can. But I think it's Tony Khan. So this book is actually a collection of short stories about Nigerians who deal with poverty, trauma, sexuality, broken homes, and fleeting joy. It explores like some really, really, really raw topics of cultural norms, values, and beliefs. So this book does a really great job at exploring hidden lies and silent suffering for those who actually are immersed in the Nigerian culture and come from Nigeria. So I love that the writing is very poetic. So if you're looking for a collection of stories where readers actually want to understand the undercurrents of like Nigerian life, I definitely think you would find this deeply moving. And this is one of the books that is for you. So now we're actually going to get to my favorite. Well, out of the three, two of my are my favorite. Now we're actually going to get into 3 fantasy books that I would recommend that anyone read, especially if you are someone who wants to get into fantasy. I tell people all the time that these 3 books I would recommend because the magical systems or the tier systems of how their culture operates is really easy to grasp. It's so easy to understand. And the way that the structure of the book is written extremely well. The plot, the character development, I mean, everything is just so amazing, especially in the first 2 books. Without further ado, I actually have the physical copies of, because I mean, just had to. So these were literally introduced to me just by Books A Million. I was in Books A Million one day and I just fell in love with the cover. So I fell in love with the covers of the book. So this is actually called, usually anytime people ask me, I always say Children of Blood and Bone series, but really this series is called the Legacy of Orisha series. So if you type that in, you will see like all 3 of these come up. These are by Tomi Adeyemi. Or the first book, so we're going to start with the first book. So the first book in the trilogy is called Children of Blood and Bone, and I had to get these because of the spray edges. The spray edges are gorgeous, but you can't really see the whole entire design because I actually tabbed up. I'm talking about, y'all, the book is, look at that. The book is tabbed up because that's how amazing this book actually was. This book is about a magical kingdom of Orisha. And in this book, Zelly, this is also YA. So Zelly is about 16 or 17. Her job is actually to bring magic back and destroy the monarchy that actually massacred her people. So within this particular book, she ends up having to ally with enemies and make deals in order for her to bring magic back. And when I say she literally takes on a journey, y'all, the journey was crazy, but the journey was so good. I think that there were a couple chapters in this book that actually brought me to tears, because you can really feel the emotion in like these characters. When I tell you the progression of Zelly's character and her relationship with her family was just so amazing. Some chapters literally, oh y'all, it just literally brought me to tears, especially kind of like towards the end where something happened between Zelly's brother and Omari. But y'all, I can't tell you because it's not in the synopsis, but that was literally the turning point for me that let me know that I needed to read book 2. So then when you get into book 2, which is Children of Virtue and Vengeance, magic is back, but so is chaos. So then they still have to team up with their enemies in order to overcome some betrayal that actually happens from book 1. So all of these things that are taking place in book 2 has manifested all because of some betrayal that actually happened in book 1. And when I tell you, I actually love the banter between Zelly and Rowan. I think his name is Rowan. And he is actually a mercenary. He is actually a mercenary that helps Zelly, I think, in book 2. And I know he's a mercenary and he's really considered like an enemy, but he ends up becoming an ally. But I absolutely loved his character, and I think I really wanted more for him in this book, even though he's not considered like a good person or a good character in the book. And y'all know how it is when it's like, man, I really want this character to be like really, really good. Like I want more for this character, but I just enjoyed his character as a whole. I don't know why. He's supposed to be like a villain, but I just enjoy his character. But that takes place in book 2. And then this book really just explores like the price of revolution, and it has that Civil War fantasy type trope. So that's what I actually loved about this one. And then I was so in love with this one. Y'all, it was a couple chapters. I actually just was so emotional because I could feel the hurt and pain in Zelly's voice. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I just need to read book 3. So I was so excited after I finished this one that I literally ordered book 3 from Amazon because I wanted the sprayed edges. And the book that no, that's not what happened. So I wanted the book with spray edges because I wanted it to match this. But then when I ordered the book from Amazon, it was no spray edges. I was like, ew, like that's not gonna match. So then I went to Walmart and I saw this one, and I literally picked it up because it had the spray edges. So although it does not match, because this is a hardcover, and I'm so tempted to actually get the hardcovers for the other 2 books, but I'm like, that is wasting money because I already have these. So when I sit these on the shelf, they're not gonna match. Like, I hate when this happens. So at the time that I got these 2, they only had the paperbacks, and I had no idea that the hardcovers even existed until I went to 2nd and Charles. So maybe Saturday when I go to, because I'm going to take a trip to 2nd and Charles, I'm going to see, because 2nd and Charles had a lot of these. So I am going to see at 2nd and Charles if they have the hard copies or hard covers of these, and see if like the price is right, because I'm not paying over like a certain amount. But I would definitely like the hard covers, because when I sit them on the shelf, I really do want them to match. I'm going to check 2nd and Charles as well to see if this came in paperback with the spray edges, and if it do, I'm probably just gonna get this one. So anyway, back to the video. So this is the last book in the trilogy, which is Children of Anguish and Anarchy, and I just love the cover. So this one follows Zelly, but it doesn't follow Zelly how I thought it was gonna follow Zelly. So Zelly ends up being captured from the last book to this book. She's captured, and she's captured by this new enemy who's seeking out power from certain ones who possess this power. So this book actually explores sacrifice and survival against imperialism, which has that ultimate war against oppression trope. So now I'm actually going to spend about a minute kind of explaining this supposed to be explosive last book of the trilogy. It's supposed to be an explosive conclusion of the Legacy of Orisha series. However, I am actually disappointed with this particular book because I felt like the whole time that Zelly was present in this book, they were trying to survive. And I'm thinking to myself, like, you all have these powers. What is happening right now? And I was kind of disappointed because I felt like the whole plot was stagnant. It was more character driven than it was plot driven, because all Zelly and her brother Zane, I think it's Zane, were trying to do was survive and get off this ship that they were captured on or kept on. So the whole book, they were just running away from the enemy. And I'm thinking, like, when are y'all gonna just fight? You know, like, when are y'all just gonna fight? Not only were they just like running away from the enemy, but there were some people from book 2 that were supposed to have been destroyed that showed up in book 3 but had no relevance. So it's like, why did the author put this person back in book 3? What was the point of introducing this character from book 2 back in book 3 when they had no relevance? It literally was just like, what? Like, what does this person have to do with book 3? Because it was literally only one part in book 3 where this person really just showed up. Y'all, I was so disappointed. And another thing was that she killed off certain characters that were allies in book 2, and we had no idea what happened to them in book 3. So did they just disappear? Did they die? Like, where are they? And I just felt like the ending, y'all, was not strong at all. It was almost as if the ending is supposed to lead us into a 4th book. So I'm really hoping that the way that this book ended, I'm really hoping that there's a 4th book. Like, I'm so serious right now because I was so hyped book 1 and 2. Then I get to book 3 and I'm like, what just happened? The ending, I was literally like this. Like, huh? Like, so it just ended like that. It just ended unfinished. It was not an ending at all. Like, y'all, I promise y'all, she is like setting us up for another book. She has to be. She has to be, because I did not get a feel of closure. I did not get that feeling that, okay, this was good. This was great. I don't know if the ending was a happy ending, if it was sad. I don't know if there's another book to come. She literally just left us on a cliffhanger, and I don't like that. If it was supposed to be a conclusion of the trilogy, then it should have been a conclusion, but not a conclusion where the reader has to ask questions. So I have literally been thinking about this book since I've read it. Like, every time I see it, I'm like, I'm disappointed. Like, I'm really disappointed. I wanted so much more for this book, and that didn't happen. But I know this is supposed to be adapted into a movie. So I'm hoping that the movie... Do you want to say hey to the camera?
Hey, y'all.
So I'm really hoping that the movie kind of clears up some questions I'm really hoping that the movie actually clears up some questions that I have, because I still have questions. However, with that being said, I really don't think the last book, me being disappointed in the last book, takes away from the amazingness of the trilogy. So if you're looking for like an emotional West African fantasy that's rich world building, emotional, powerful, with a great heroine, I literally think that you definitely should read the Legacy of Orisha series. And even if you only read the first book, I'm telling you, you will be like moved by this series. So this series is actually what prompted me to immerse myself in a little bit more of West African novels, because when I tell y'all, West Africans, not especially Nigerians, they can write, y'all. They can really, really write, and I really love the richness of the world building, especially when they write fantasies, because you can feel the strength and the power and the emotion behind their words, behind the magical systems, y'all. Amazing. Amazing. So with that being said, if you stay to the end of the video, let me know in the comments if you've read any of these books, and if you plan to pick up any of these books, let me know which one you plan to pick up. I already know what to do. Put a book emoji in the comments. If you're not subscribed to my channel, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. If you don't want to subscribe, you don't have to, but make sure you still put a book emoji in the comments. Until next time, thanks for watching, y'all. Bye. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back. So today I'm going to be talking about 12 books that are written by Nigerian authors. And these books I actually really would recommend. And these books I actually recommend that you actually read because they were really good to me. And at the end of the video, you can let me know if you've read any of these, if you've liked, already know, put a book emoji in the comments. Until next time, put a book in the, if you already know, put a book in the comments. If you like, and you already know what to do, put a book in the comments. And you already know what to do, put a book emoji in the comments. What is going on?